Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I'm going into the Oaks, which I've never been on before, but I've got a contract opportunity here. Just not sure how much that I'm going to be able to chat, because it said that the FM will be on, but this is supposed to be an English countryside map. This looks very different than what I would expect, but they're calling it the best server in FOC, so just going to take a peek and get some canola off the field, but in case I can't talk much, wanted to at least let you know what I was doing. Alright, so there's definitely a good bit of activity going on. Frame rate here is probably something, I don't know that I've experienced this in multiplayer before. I mean, it's almost like claymation or something. But maybe it's because there's folks on this. I mean, there's only 3 of us on, I think. So it's interesting. But yeah, he just wants things kept. He wants things kept with 10% on repair. We're taking things over to Field 71. There seem to be 4 other servers. Now, I will say my first impressions here. This is not what I would consider a typical English map. I would be lying if I said I wasn't leery of taking this, but they basically threw up on their contract. It's the best server in FOC, and so I was joking with them when I came on, because they're like, hey, thanks, you know, any help is appreciated, and I'm like, well, you know, thanks for the work, and like, you know, how could I avoid the best server in FOC? I had to come check it out. And he just said it's a hardcore group of Brits. So, joked a little bit. I'm like, well, I won't hold that against you. And it's like most do, ha 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 ha. And he's just been giving me instructions on the repairs. Oh, so maybe that's an AI worker. Okay, I thought, because it said there were 2 people on. But maybe they're on a different farm. I don't know. So, and then he did give me, he kind of showed me, and again, the different words for the same thing across the pond. You know, he gave me the view of how the lorry needs to go, translated into truck in American. So basically it's straight out here and then up, and I think that blue part is where his farm is. So if I look at this map, this is where the silos are. So he basically went from here this way and then across and over. So he said that's the straightest route. So he's grabbing a truck, I see, going over to the harvester. So he may just end up taking the truck, because that truck was getting full. So he may fill up there, and maybe he'll take it and then bring back an empty truck. So we shall see. But at this point, now he's obviously moving along, and it looks like maybe, oh, because that harvester moved a bit, but now it picked up its header. So kind of interesting. But looks like barley, if my icon interpretation is correct. So I think that's what we're looking at here, which is a pretty prolific crop, as I found out working yesterday. So kind of getting you up to speed of where things sit. I am doing better on the money front. I spent, I think it was nearly 12 hours of work yesterday on, well, he's a good guy here. He's clearly knows that I'm going to be running out of stuff, and he's heading over now. But that will be just in time, because I was starting to wonder how that was all going to work. So we'll see, because I think this is actually going to fill him up, and then if it does and he doesn't take the truck, I will then go work on taking it over since he's given me the direction, but at this point I can certainly go over and back one more time, and in the interim maybe he'll grab the truck and go get another one. Maybe that's where he went. Maybe he went to go get an empty one, and he'll swap out the full one and take that later. But in the meantime, he's getting us an empty one. Yeah. So here he comes. And then, because I think he said like 6, and so I know that was what I was coming on, was to do like 5, 6 with the canola. So you can see these are pretty big even compared to this field. So it gives you an idea of what we have in store. But yeah, the nice thing was I got $160,000 more dollars, because what I'm really trying to figure out at this point is just trying to get myself in place for harvest per the new, or the model that I'm really trying to adhere to, which is don't take the cheap way out with the leases of existing FMs on the server, kind of earn my way to my farm. And so I'm doing that by busting my tail with a lot of work. So I do want to do some stuff, because I need a VIP episode in the can. I could do it tomorrow, but that would be like the day before, and obviously then if something goes not according to plan, where I suddenly have less time, then I'm going to be either late or putting out a rushed episode, which likely is not going to be very good quality. And as we start nearing the end of that series, because I'm getting up to level 20, and that's when I want to make a change. As I start getting there, I definitely want to do a good job in finishing that up there on Riverview Farms. So, but yeah, this map is actually, like I said, I'm going to be curious what happens on the rest of it. But right now, I mean, yeah, there's hedges here and whatever, but I don't feel like, oh my goodness, I mean, because they did talk about the challenging fields, so they were somewhat upfront that way. But to me, this is fun. I like stuff like this that's not just the norm. I mean, obviously it's got some nice rolling countryside. So, very first impressions, this would be a map I would do. And this server is a European server. That might also be part of my claymation thing, because if you look at that, my ping time is up there. I mean, I'm sitting there right at the red all the time. I mean, the nice thing is at least it's kind of running, but I'm sitting there right around 100 milliseconds. You know, I'll flip to one side or the other, so I'll get a little yellow here and there. There we go, some yellow, and then it'll go back to red, and so forth. So, but yes, it looks like he has grabbed the truck. I'm guessing that's him in the truck. So I may need to... Oh, he's blocked by an object. But yeah, he wanted to just knock this field out, and then he told me we'd be heading over to some others. I guess I don't feel that bad, because he just drove through his own crop, because I thought I would make it to the end of the row, and did not happen. So he is taking the harvester down to 5 to get a headland going, and with the AI, and then while we knock this one out, he said, you know, then we can finish this. Now, he said we'll finish this field with the AI, but I don't know if that's what he meant. It's not like he told me to leave, and he obviously just took that harvester. Now, he's saying 5, but I don't know, he's doing something down there. So let me get my header down, but yeah, I like ran through that a little bit. It's like, oh great, I'm gonna get reprimanded right away. But it turned out to not be too bad. So, Did get some feedback from one of the folks. They're an FOC farmer, but also watched some of the videos, and they're like, hey, you know, maybe do a video with someone where you're like chatting and having a dialogue. And I explained, well, right now my problem with that is whenever I've had someone on, the video, the way it records the other person's audio, people always say they basically can't hear the other people, which could be certainly irritating while you're hearing one side of a conversation. I mean, it's one thing if it's some dramatic thing on a show or a movie or something, but I'm not that sophisticated with my farming simulator videos. I'm not doing any role play right now or anything like that, because those frankly take a lot of work, and there's plenty to do without worrying about that. So I leave that to others that are better at it than far better at it than me. But anyway, let's see where he is. Alright, so there he is going. But yeah, okay, maybe he was grabbing the header trailer, I'm guessing, is what was happening, because I'm thinking that's what's hanging around behind him a little bit. But yeah, so, you know, he mentioned the AI would finish 65. I think he meant I'm going to finish 65. I would guess we have one more. Like, I think that what's left is wider than just one header width here, so it's not quite going to line up. I'm going to have to make 2 more passes of the field. Maybe it's two full header widths. Didn't look like it, but now that I take a peek at it end on, it kind of does. So I'm thinking maybe I can't quite see it. I think 5 is like way over there. Alright, so he has asked me to get a headland going. So I will do that, and he's going to finish up 65 with the AI, so I guess he was right. He just was getting things over so that I don't have to find my way here. There's a few beehives over here. In theory, they help canola fields, but obviously only within 150 meters, so it would seem that spreading them around the field might have made a little more sense, but you know, not the smartest thing. So I'm going to go this way so I have the pipe out so that I can cut my way out if I need to, which I'm sure I will, given the size of this field. So this is the big one. You know, technically I could save a little bit here by not doing this, but I can, you know, kind of the way the AI would do it is they'd cut a segment out and then we could get the truck in where we need to. So we've got 2 little tufts over here, so I'll get those just to be thorough. Because every little bit of crop is money. So if I'm the farmer, I certainly want to do that. And I would think to be a good contractor that the better I am at getting every little last bit, the happier they'll be to have me back. This is an FM I've never worked for before, again, which would make sense given that I've never been on this map. But in FOC, farmers can have fields on anything, so that's not necessarily the case. Alright, I panicked a little bit, like, am I going to run through the field suddenly because I'm just watching where I'm driving and not watching the fill limit, but just past 20%, so I've still got a little ways to go, which is good. So, field's not huge, but so looks like there's some stuff out there, I guess south, if I look the way I'm facing on the mini-map and so forth. This is right in the center, and we're 1860 and 2500, so this again seems like it's a 4x map, which tends to be the norm in FOC. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to keep moving along, and I will include some extra footage just as something for you to view to get a feel for these servers and so forth, and definitely want to show more of it, and I don't know what I'm going to come across, so there may be some really interesting things, or just some idyllic English countryside, if nothing else. Wow, there's like a castle out there. Cool. So stuff like that, that's what I mean. You just never know. I don't think we're headed in that direction, so I think this is as close as we're going to get to that. So it just might be an old church. But yeah, I need to be careful here, because I think I'm at the point where I want to do my AI move and cut myself a spot here. So let me do this, because otherwise I'm not going to have enough and it'll be a mess. So let me go get the truck. Alright, I was going to get the truck, but it looks like he's trying to get in here. Not sure that he'll be able to. I was offering to get the pipe out to the road, but I guess he's going to try to get in there. So we'll see what he wants to do. But a bit of fun for sure trying to get in here, but no, I was offering to put the pipe out on the road and then he wouldn't need to get in here. But he's decided to try to get in here, and I guess that's what we're gonna do. So we'll keep this on and we'll see how this works. Alright, he got it out. He had it on the road, and I thought, oh, I'll just make it easier, and then he started pulling through the trees, and then I nearly got stuck in the trees, which I'm sure you saw. And then it appeared. I thought maybe they were going to pull up and do whatever, but they didn't. which is fine. I don't need them to. But I'll get this filled up and then I'll get the truck out of the way so that I can get back into the headland there without destroying stuff. That was always the best bet. So he was running around me for a brief moment, but in the speed up, I'm sure you couldn't tell. But, so at this point, I'll go to my plan, which is, you know, show things here or there as I get going here. So, so enjoy. Alright, so I will admit, contrary to my logic, he did make a comment that the best line on these fields is in line with the repair truck, basically, to do the short end. So I am going to literally come up next to this sucker and kind of set my line based on that and follow his lead. But I think what it is, I've got to turn the angle off, so let's try this again. There we go. Alright. So I will now start doing this, but I think what it is the field borders, where here, like, we'll hit a large area of emptiness, where otherwise we'd be dealing with those trees that they were enjoying getting the truck through. So just wanted to hop in here and make that comment while I'm thinking of it, and now back to the regularly scheduled interlude. back here many hours later, but this is it. I'm gonna wrap up. I think I could do a little bit more, but he's got AI working on a field up north on field 6 that I had started, but then I offered to do 73 and 74 because they're just weirder shapes. So rather than trying to wrestle with AI down here, so 73 is that field that is being limed right now, and then this is 74. Fields on this map are deceptive. It probably took me a good 2.5 hours to do that, to do field 73 over there. I don't know how many acres it is. I didn't look at it. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, this is a map I'll probably use in single player at some point. It is quite enjoyable. So you know, we'll see how things go into the future. But wanted to pop on and at least let you know where this is at. I'm going to go ahead and obviously clean up here and get things put away and sign off. But I am probably done for today, but I will continue on with this episode into another day. So I'll see you in a bit. We're here. Luckily I remembered what day it is, because as you can see it's a little bit late. It's already 2:37 in the afternoon on the server. But we've got canola that's ready to harvest. I don't know that I've ever looked at the stalks at the edge like this. It's kind of crazy looking. So, every penny I own is here. 457,896. I'm going to be able to get some of what I need, but not all of what I need. So, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get a harvester. That's my first need. But I don't think I'm going to have enough money to get a truck. Now, I may have enough money to buy a trailer that is going to work, that is not going to be huge, but that will do a good job. So I'm going to take a look at that, but I'm basically going to focus on what I need first, and I'm going to likely have to use a silo, at least for a little bit. Again, the neighbor said I can do that. I'm going to take advantage of that, because the silo I want, I know how much it is, but I can't do everything. And it would seem, in the immediate need, what I'm going to try to do is do what I must do, and then I will do what I can do. So I do have money coming from Lomeric. I have asked him, I think he's still out of town, but I said, hey, if there's any way you can send me some stuff. I also worked a little bit this morning. I think I have about $20,000 coming from that. Planting on Poppenberger, so I've got a little bit coming in, but that in and of itself might be enough to get me the silo. So depending on when things happen, I might still pull something off. But what I need to work with at this point, and I've looked at this a little bit, so I think I know what I'm going to do, but I wanted to show you this because this is part of Farmers Only Club that is unique as well. There is a page here to comply with the rules of header combinations. You see it over here under general information. So based on the harvester that's available, these are the only headers, for example, that you can use with the Novaliner. So if I look at the top liner 4090, that's the one I was initially targeting. So that's here, and they're just basically listed in order of what they are in the store. So this was one I was thinking, well, for 129,000, let me change this from pounds. I've got this set because I was doing my VIP series. So there we go. Back to dollars. $129,500, but it only gets me 8,500 liters. Not great, but it'll harvest most everything I need depending on the header. So what you're talking about here, the diamonds are, and I had to look some of these up. So this is basically the grain header. This is an 8-row corn header. This is a sunflower header. So if I go in here, the top liner 4090, I can do 6 meters for 30,000. So again, I'm like, hey, 150,000, like, yeah, that's actually not a bad deal. It might be worth looking at. And the Helianthus here, 5.7, but you can go faster with the sunflower headers here in FOC. So these two headers are available, but basically 6 meters or less. And similarly, the Diamant 8, 6 meters. So I'm basically at a 6 meter working with. If I take a look a couple down, because you can see basically I'm dealing with this, but I do have suddenly Very Feed 28 foot and Honeybee 25 foots available. This seems to be my sweet spot, and that's because I've got a Diamant 12 available to me that I can use here. Other than that, it's very similar. I've got a 28 foot header, a 25 foot header depending on brand I want, and I can still use the 8. The helianthus is the same, but I now step up, in essence, to another rank in the harvesters. The challenge then becomes, before I get to the next level, it's in essence here at the Axial Flow 9250. I've got a different helianthus. I now can do the 50-foot headers, the 45-foot headers. You know, and if you go all the way to the end, those are the big headers. So if I'm sticking to what in essence are the cross points, it's the Axial Flow 7150 and the Axial Flow 9250. So if I return here, $300,000 to get here. But the one below it that has a header limit smaller than this, I'm only talking $16,500 difference here. So to me, this was enough of a step. To get to the Axial Flow 9250, I've got to go to $410,000. That's almost everything I own. And then I'm looking at, you know, harvesters like this. So basically, I've got to cross that $400,000 threshold. Now, I can use this John Deere, will allow me to do everything that's large, but it's almost another $100,000. And right now, I don't have fields that are that large. And this holds 14,400 liters. Oh, I'm sorry, 10,000 liters. So I do have 4,000 liters less capacity, but I'm also dealing with smaller headers. So the thing here is, now I'm talking $301,500. And then to harvest this canola, I can use this 25 footer, which is 7.5 meters for $42,500, or I can go up to this one, which is another meter for $48,000. You know, and you've got these honeybees, but I'm not sure why one would pay $146,000 for, in essence, the same width. But someone might really want them. So again, you know, $89,000 for 13 meters. So it's at this point, I'd need $489,000, for example, to do the New Holland, at least. It'd be, I think it's over $500,000. So I'd need quite a bit more. And, you know, I've had folks telling me, well, you know, you should just rent and wait until you can get to a large one. I could do that, but again, I'm just choosing to go down the path of I'd like to own my equipment. And at this point, I've got a 50-acre farm. I don't need the 15 meters. It's about a half-hour difference in time, I think, in harvesting most of my fields. It might be a little bit longer. Actually, I think that was the difference between 6 and 8.5. So it might be half the time. Because it's realistically the same speed, but you know, I could get up here because I could run the 50-footer, which is this one, you know, so it'd be 15.2 meters instead of 8.5, so it's not quite double. These are my two fields, 62.88 acres in total. So if I go to my working time calculator, put that in a couple columns here, and we're talking 6 miles an hour is what those headers run at. So I can do 8.5 meters or 15.2 meters. So it's a difference. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not a difference. You can see it's going to take me over 3 hours to do the field, with what I'm looking at, and it's going to take me just under 2 hours, but it's really 40% less. It's not half. It's not taking me down to 1.6, 1.5. And it's not that I'm not going to get there. I just don't need to be there right away. And right now, what that would turn into is I'd need to immediately start basically still renting everything except the header. I'm going back and forth here, because even the large farms are just like finally getting some of the large headers and so forth years into the work, and it's not like I have time to give, but I don't have money, and I want to put in my silo as well. And the silo I want is just short of $150,000. So I could get going on my farm with what I'm planning on doing, and I'm going to have to probably rent the truck, but I could, I think, be in a good spot to buy the harvester and the header, and once I get the money sent to me, I might be able to get my silo. So all I'll be doing is renting some sort of a trailer contraption for the harvest here. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. And yes, it's going to take me a little bit. I'm going to have to, I'm going to lose some money on the equipment and so forth. But, that's okay. I've looked at used equipment. I thought I was going to get a crampy trailer from someone today that was going to be a decent price. That did not work out. But yeah, once I get the harvester and the header, let's see what we have left, and then maybe we'll pivot a little bit. Now I do need to get a GPS, so that's going to raise the price a little bit. So that's all the things here. And if I was to lease it, it'd be $16,000, for the first hour, and then I'd be paying $6,000. Like, I need a harvester. I'm hemming and hawing. No, I think this will work. I mean, I get I could be done, but an hour every season is not going to make or break me. So I want to stick with what I was trying to do, because it's tempting to take a simpler way, which is I'll just lease until I can afford it. But I'd like to buy things if I can do that. And I certainly have the money to do that now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy this. I want to make sure. So yes, the 3050 Terraflex 28 foot is the largest header I can have. So that's it right there. Nothing to customize there. Buy this. So this Crampy was the one I was going to potentially look at to start with, because it's 60,000 liters, and that'll be decent for the fields. I probably will have 3 or 4 of those, but I don't have enough money, so that's what I was looking at is, if I had enough to buy it, because again, a similar size with a trailer, that 90,000 is the best, and then I start getting down here where I can only do 45,000. I'm still paying 68. This is what I'm using in my BIP series, is 40,000 liters, but I can go to 60,000. And this is always kind of what Farming Simulator does to you. I'm paying an extra $40,000 to gain 20,000, not even 20,000 liters. I may actually, because if I do this, I don't need a truck. And then I don't need to rent anything right now. And since this is a stepping stone to, likely doing this eventually, and having one of these and a truck. All right, this will give me 40,000 liters, knowing that I'm eventually going to step up to something. Perhaps. I mean, I may decide that this works just fine for what I need. But I'm going to go ahead and do this. This takes next vehicle I can put a license plate on. So given that this is my 3rd vehicle, we're going to buy this, and we are set. So there we go. So we've got this. The header's not very large. I should be able to just transport it. But the most important thing is I've been able to get my equipment after one season, and it's not the best equipment that's available to us. You know, maybe I could do better some other ways, but it's mine. And I'm not owing anybody anything. I'm not leasing and people are making money off me. I'm just able to say, this is my harvester, and I can use it, and I can do what I want. So, because yeah, the Crampy I was going to be able to get for $60,000, and that I was going to go for, you know, and obviously paying $55,000, you know, for another $5,000, that would have been a great buy. But I contacted the person that was selling it within an hour and a half, I think, of when they listed it, and they got back to me a little while later and said, sorry, it's gone. So I thought I was fast. Obviously someone was faster. Or, you know, again, there's no guarantee, there's no requirement that they have to compare everybody that contacted them in order, and they may have done that. I mean, someone may have told them before in the hour and a half that I did that they wanted it, but it was gone, and everything else is just huge. So, and I don't have the money for it. Frankly, I would have been able to buy like one piece of equipment. There were a lot of planters available, things like that, but nothing I really needed, and big tractors. So, you know, I've got a tractor, I'm good, but I am going to get, whoops, because yeah, this is always the biggest thing of, can I fit? I can clearly fit, I just wasn't driving well. Now, if I get to like a 40-foot header or whatever, I absolutely would expect that I would have a header trailer, but I've got to keep in mind here too, like, I'm just getting down to the farm, and then I'm never moving it again. So, you know, if I start to expand and I'm over the map, then it makes sense. But right now, this is all going to be perfectly fine the way it is. So I'm pretty excited that I could work this and get everything. So I knew I was targeting this harvester, so I knew I needed more than the couple $100,000 that I would need. And to me, that this step makes sense, because this does also cut, you know, it takes it to 1.7, where I think it was over like 2.25 hours. Well, I should say that was on the one field, I think. I think it was like 1.7 hours to 1.2 hours or whatever, but obviously then the other field I bought with 36 is bigger, because I was obviously speccing this out before I owned 36, not knowing if I would get it in time to have it. And the nice thing is, at this point, if I get paid, I'll be able to get my silo, because I think Lomeric owes me $120,000 at the rate we've agreed to, and that would get me right there. And then I've got the other $26,000 or so coming from the other individual, so I should be okay. And the most important thing then is I have what I need to do, I think, almost everything I need to do on the farm, unless right now. You know, I could obviously, you know, get a plow if I decide I don't want to do the weeder anymore or so forth, but, you know, what I did was fine. I think it worked well. And yes, it would have been way cheaper to rent the stuff from Lomeric again for $4,000 an hour, but it's just, like I said, it felt a bit cheaty. I just didn't like that. Oh, now I'm going to take 001 MHA license plate, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, and I'm going to head up to the shop and I'm going to get my trailer, because I'm very quickly going to need that to dump canola into. So what my plan would be is, obviously I want to get the harvest going, because you know, the thing is, like, if Limerick finally gets to send me that money, say tonight, which might be 5-6 hours from now, I don't want to be up against the clock, because today is the last day for the canola to come off the field, or I lose it. So I'm going to still take advantage of the generous offer that I can store my canola in this gentleman's silo here, and I will do that. But you know, that at least feels okay, a little bit more okay. And some of it is I just have the timing issue. So he's got the auger wagon sitting on it again. Just fine. Again, it's his silo. And I was able to get on there and dump before. So I'm assuming I can probably do the same thing. Just I'm going to have to do it multiple times here, where with the truck that I had, you know, and that would be the benefit, although I think I'm going to end up with more than 150,000 liters of canola, because I had almost 100,000 liters of canola with the one field, and the other one's bigger, so I'm going to get more than 100,000. So I'll have closer to, I probably have about 250,000 will be my estimate at this point. We'll see where things land. You know, so with the 40,000, that's going to be seven trailer loads, so it's not nothing. You know, where if I had the larger option, it would be 2. So there's definitely a difference. But this is kind of how things go. I mean, I'm smaller. I can't do what this guy has yet. But I'll get there. You know, and I'll get to the size that I'm comfortable with and what I want to do. Because again, the people that were telling me, like, you know, you'll be disappointed if you use the smaller stuff. That's only if I get disappointed. I mean, I know it's going to take me longer. I mean, I logically understand this. This is how it works. But it's going to be fine. So I'm okay with that. Because to me it feels more like I'm earning my way to what I need. You know, and the nice thing is, like, this would let me haul whatever I need. So this is a versatile trailer. I mean, I've used it on the VIP series for all kinds of things. And I could always sell these when I'm ready to help some smaller farmer, or I could choose to hang on to them for nostalgia and, you know, if I'm working things. But the reality ends up being, if I don't expand beyond 35 and 36, and I don't have enough of a desire to expand that I would drive to the other side of the map to do it. So, you know, realistically, I need either the yellow farm, I think that's Shazam, but I'm not sure. I need the yellow farm to offer me 34, or I need Limerick to offer me, you know, 37 and 38 that are right next to me there. Those are the things I would consider. Beyond that, I think I'll be more than happy with what I've got. And if I stay at this size, I don't know that I need anything bigger than what I'm purchasing. I mean, certainly the trailer I might want to upsize, because I'm not going to lie, that might be a little more tedious than I'd like, especially when I'm selling the crop. That ends up being the bigger issue. Harvesting and then running to a silo that's nearby, that's easy. It's the taking of the crop to market that is going to be challenging, because if I need to run 6 loads, obviously if I know I could run less, I'd likely prefer to do that. But again, I have a clear path. I just need $500,000 to do it, because the tractor is about $250,000, because for the large trailer, I think I'm going to need the horsepower if I'm going to try to haul 150,000 liters of anything. because even this, like, I don't know, I don't remember what tractor I have in the VIP series with this, and I know just Little Hills, and it might be this one because I have a Massey, so it might actually be the same tractor. And this has challenges with the 40,000 I have. All right, so we've got it all. I'm going to set my GPS, and I'm going to start harvesting with my own stuff, which is pretty nice. Whoops, let's see. Did I go far enough? Yep. Alright, now I am going to try to do like the 0.3 meters more that they're claiming we can do here. And I'm assuming that that could just be anywhere. I've got to unfold the harvester, so there we go. We'll start this up. But I'm assuming that's just because you have GPS. But we'll see if I can do that. So that gets me to 8.8 meters, which will help me out. Now, canola can't drop straw. I wasn't initially thinking that I'd be doing a lot of that. But what I have seen in the advertising board is people are willing to buy straw a lot of the time. So that may be a good way to make some extra income off grain and to do something a little different than what I normally have done. But canola doesn't give you that option, as you can see. Straw is not available for the current crop type. So again, I know exactly what I got off this field last time, because I've got my records. And as I said, I think it was 90,610 or so. So we'll see. Because we don't have precision farming, I don't know that it'll vary as much. But once again, I haven't had the lime. The question is, in the base game, does that drive down your harvest a little bit? Or do you just, as long as it's limed, you don't take any kind of penalty at all? So it's going to take a little bit of time, for certain. The biggest question was, can I get up and down in one row? It looks like I'll be able to, because I just need to be able to be at 50% or less, which I certainly should be. I'm not going to be at 25% or less, so I can't run 4 rows before I'll be full. But it definitely feels like I've made progress here. You know, I've done well. I've got myself my own equipment, and I actually did better than I thought, because I really expected I'd be leasing equipment. And so that was a bit of the calculation too, is if it's going to take me another hour, and keep in mind with working time, that means, well, why do I have that little bit there? And I wonder if that's got something to do with the 8.8, or if it's just a little bit of land that sticks out. Yeah, it actually sticks out a bit, so I think that's all that is. Like, why did I leave a plant? Because it made me start to question my 8.8 meters, but I don't think that was it. But yeah, I'm at 33%, and this is going to be my longest pass anywhere on the field, are these two. Right, so the biggest thing was it going to hit the things on the right? Because if it's going to leave things, it will leave them on the right. But it looks like this works. So I am going to go ahead and get this done. I'll pop back at the end of this field just to let you know how this year's harvest compares to last year's, and then obviously I'll head across the street to 36 to get this done today. And then, you know, if I happen to get the funding in between, we may be putting it in our own silo at some point. What I'm honestly expecting to happen is I won't. I'll put this crop into the silo of my neighbor for now, but as soon as I get the silo, I will transfer it to mine and hold it in mine going forward, so that I'm not taking advantage of the situation. But I'm going to keep working on this, and I will see you in a bit. All right, 140,000. It just happened 2 minutes ago. So you can see 140,000, and it's in, and we have 178,000. So sadly, I had just dropped my load into the other silo, so I need to go get it, and then we'll figure out what we're doing. So let me go do that, because that's going to probably take a little bit of work, because he's got the auger wagon that I've got to move to be able to get there. But I'm going to stop here, and we're going to go do that so that we can be self-sufficient. So the problem I'm going to have is I got a little bit from the harvester, and I dumped a full load in there, so obviously I've got a trailer that holds a certain capacity, and obviously I'm going to have to come back here more than once, but that's okay. So, dropping that off. This is way bigger than something I can run, but I should be able to move it. So it should let me do that. And then I can pull it off here. We'll just leave it there, and then I'll back it up a little bit when I need to. But I think I have an idea of where I want to place it. Now the problem is I did not actually try it, so it may not be flat. I may have to do landscaping. This may all blow up, but I would hope, because I think it's like 148,000, so I have 30,000 extra. I would hope I'll be okay. I do this. Now hopefully I see 40,000. I do. So that means he didn't have any canola in there. I would have been very surprised if he did. That was part of the reason we kind of agreed that it would be no biggie, because he's not using the same crop in there that I am. We are full. So we are going to the other end of field 36. I can go down this road since I'm here, because that will give me an idea too of what might make sense. But I was thinking I'd put it down here at this end near the road, so that as I have to travel, I'll be able to do that. You can see this tractor is struggling a bit up that hill. You know, this is not flat, so I'm definitely fighting against gravity here with my limited horsepower and weight, but it works. Got a little bit more than I expected, so maybe he gave me a little bit of a bonus or something. I'm not sure. So again, I could put it there by the road, but I think that'll be tight. I think it's going to be better down here somewhere. So let me just stop. So this is the silo I want to place. So there we go. Land not owned by me. And we're talking a few $100s. So the real question ends up being, do I want... Okay, it overlaps. I think it makes more sense there. Because I'm half tempted. I think I'm tempted to do this. Now let's see. If I get closer to the road, that's more. 148. Let's see what other options I have. Okay, so they're about the same. So there's a few $100s of landscaping. I would think that would mean not much. I'm just worried. I got room on one side. Because what I'm worried is pulling in and out with a longer... so maybe since I have more clearance here... 36, wow, it's just... Because theoretically, the lower I can get, where I'm just not playing with... So I've got more of a clearance here, where here I've got a tree in the way. So what I'm suggesting is put it, like, really close to the tree there, and actually that's below 900. So I think that will work. Alright, so we got that. So we've got it here. So this is where we dump. That's where we pull out. So I think everything looks pretty good there. So, you know, if I was to sell it, I get a little bit extra. So I'm going to rename it. I'm going to have to delete this again. Okay, silo change. All right. So there we go. So it has its number, which I guess means I can transfer things and stuff like that. But that's the silo complex. So there it is. So I should be okay. Because again, I've got room past the building, so I don't think I'm too far down. Again, I suppose I'll get told if I am, but yeah, I mean, we're barely encroaching on the building down there. So let me see. Yeah, I mean, the edge of my symbol, like you can see I'm lined up in the doorway. My tractor's right there. I'm well within the orange, I believe. So I think I'm perfectly fine. But the nice thing is then there's plenty of room. But the thing I really liked about this, aside from the capacity, which should be more than enough, with 1.5 million liters. So that was the thing. Like, there were smaller ones that cost about the same amount of money. And I've never seen this silo complex or these types. There's others with higher capacity that basically just add more blue containers. So that's frankly one of my questions is can I... So I would have to eliminate and replace it. Because what I was wondering is could I add things? So you can see, I mean, that takes me to 3 million. You know, as you'd expect, since this is 1.5 million, like each of those add another 1.5 million. So, and to me, they were just extremely compact. They didn't take a huge amount of space, and the most important thing was when I have a trailer like I have that lifts up, I'm not hitting the ceiling like I've done in other covered silos or covered buildings in general. I mean, I'm struggling with that with the cow barn in my VIP series. There's a little bit of potential problem even with the TMR mixer, the big one that I have in the VIP series as well. So I've definitely been more aware of those kind of things. And so when I saw this, because they had a full 150,000 liter dump truck that they were using, and when I saw that, I was like, this is awesome. This is the one I want to use. So, and it's exciting to on one degree too, because it's something I've never used before. So it's something brand new on my farm. Not anything you just repeated or whatever. You know, I didn't look at like this one, but I mean, if you think about it, you know, I don't know what silo complex this is. Now I'm curious. Let me get my canola out of here and get his stuff back while I play the game of trying to see what this is. So, the 113,000 that I would have expected. And then I'm just dropping mine. I'm gonna go push his trailer back so that he doesn't even know I've been here. You know, maybe it's possible there's some tracking in the silos or something that would do it, but don't know. But we'll move this back. So there you go. I think that was about where it was at. And then I can take mine and get ready to get out of here. But no, it's a curiosity thing at this point, because I wonder what the capacity is on that compared to what I have and what the cost is. Alright, so this is it. So this is the same price. I literally have paid $8,000 more, and I have over double the capacity that he has. So talk about a brilliant option that we have. I mean, I love it. I mean, yeah, it's taller and it's whatever, but because, yeah, there they are. So this is his, this is mine. 8,500 more, and it's 1.5 million liters. I am just stoked. I love it. So those are the type of things I love to do within Farming Simulator, is just really, you know, try to be a good consumer, just like in real life. You know, if I was presented with those two options by my silo installer, I'd be like, give me the big one for a little bit more. You know, and again, footprint wise, I don't think mine takes up any more space either. I mean, I suppose I could have like tried to put it down, you know, I mean, not actually, but, you know, positioned it on the field and gone with that. But yeah, it's just, it's really nice. So now we're in great shape. So I've got my canola out of his silo, no worse for wear. I don't have to bother anybody, and that's the most important thing too. I hate being a distraction for folks. And then, you know, because then he'll look and he'll be, where's this canola? Oh yeah, that's right, that guy's borrowing my silo. And this way I just have my thing. So I am really happy, because at this point, other than new things, which I should hopefully be able to control, I think we have everything we need. I've got a spreader that'll do fertilizer and lime, so that covers everything. I've got a weeder that lets me handle with weeds over there. Obviously, I've got something to plant crops. You know, if I want to plant other crops that I would need, say, a corn header for or whatever, again, those are expenses I can control. I'd buy the planter when I have the money. I'd buy the planter likely when I have enough money to also know that I can buy the header when the crop is ready, just to really avoid any problems. I've got a trailer that I can haul things around to. If I want to start having supply on my farm, again, it's a cost I can control. I can put down, say, a lime silo, for example, if I want to bring tons of lime in so I don't have to keep running up there, you know, and that might make sense, because once again, we're talking about 10,000 liters that I can fit into the spreader. This way, I can go ahead and bring tens of thousands down and just fill from there. But I don't think there's, like, now at this point, I can operate without the pressure of, what do I do because I don't have enough money to do something. I've got 25,000 to get the next crop in, and I'm also going to get whatever profit I get from selling the crop before that. So, you know, even though that 30,000 might be tight to replant these fields and do what I need and fertilize them, I'm not able to do that until, well, I guess I could before I sell the crop, but I'm not going to, because I'm not double cropping. I'm pretty excited about it, so I'll be back when the field's done, just to give you a heads up of what I really pulled off the field compared to last time, and then we'll probably just circle back around when we're done. But that was really what I was hoping to be able to do, is I've gotten by without having to lease anything for this harvest. So I am operational here at Hobo's Hollow. It's pretty good. So I'll see you in a bit. So in my rush to get things done, I realized I didn't do what I promised, which was let you know what was done on that field over there. I've done 2 sets of the harvesters, so it'd be 98, 231. I realized the 6085, this is the second group, but I haven't put it into the trailer yet. So I was just needing to take 6085 out of there. And that is compared to 99, 861 from the previous year. Actually, it's 99, 661, which is a difference of 1,430 liters. Now, I ran over 2 rows of crop almost in their entirety before I realized what was happening, because as is normal with this, doing some other things, I'm playing around with mobile apps and listening to videos and whatever while the harvester goes up and down the field. So I normally just set it and go on my way. And unfortunately then I noticed like it was all the way or 3/4 of the way through the field twice. So it's entirely possible that I ran over 1,430 liters and that we really had a very similar level of output. Not sure that I'm going to plant canola again next year. I may. There's no reason not to. It's a good crop as far as price and so forth. So, because the challenge is going to be, as I've said, grain is going to yield more. So that simply means it's going to take longer to harvest because I'm going to have to empty the harvester more often, which is going to fill the trailer more quickly, which is then obviously going to mean more loads coming over to the silo. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead. We'll get our total amount that we have when we're done. But yeah, as it's been getting late, I've taken a break here and there. I just want to make sure I can get this thing done, and I might still have a couple hours here. As you can see, we've got 2.2 hours on the harvester as it is. And a lot of that, I'm sure, is just turning around or unloading and so forth. So we're going to end up doing a lot. Obviously, we had full fuel. We're already halfway done. So I may need to fuel this thing up before I'm done. But I'll be back at some point with something. I am all set. I am done harvesting. You can see I got 4.5 working hours on the equipment here on the harvester, so not unexpected at all. You know, it was 3.1 hours to do the fields. By the time you do everything you need to do, turn around, all of that, all the time spent unloading, that also works. And you would think I know what I'm doing with this game, because as you'll see, when we show our final total here, and so I did spend $3,000 to add that little display onto my building. Let's see how close I can get. There it is, 250,589 liters of canola. In case you don't see it, there it is. So it's a 3-line display. I was debating getting a bigger one, but then I read the description that said it would scroll. I honestly can't imagine I'd really be having more than 3 crops in there, but you know how it is. It's one of those like, oh, but what if I do? You know, I mean, again, it does hold 1.5 million liters. If I just have 250,000 of several things, I could obviously have 6 different crops in there. So, but in any event, that got done. So, still have not gotten paid from the other farmer. I wish that had come along, because I did have a situation, although I think I would have had to drive up to the store anyway, because I still don't have a fuel solution. But I did look at the repair solution that most people have, which is this contraption, for lack of a better word. So unlike the workshop trigger, which we used to have in FSN, which was $5,000 and would allow us to repair, that's the repair item plus the field service trailer. And the field service trailer is $121,000. So yeah, wow. I had no idea. Again, I don't know if that's cranked up. I would think it is, because it's like 121,490 something. So it sounds like it's been edited. Usually most mods are, you know, some even amount, like, you know, the 58,000 we had for the trailer or whatever it is. But, and similarly, I think that repair station might be worked a little bit, but yeah, it was like, I think it was under 30,000, but it was up in the upper 20s. So I had like 24,000 or something, and I didn't have enough to buy it, because I'm going to need that so that I don't have to drive back to the shop. However, that would also mean I'd need fuel, because again, like the fuel trailer that everyone has, the field service trailer and the fuel trailer, I think that was like $80,000 or $50,000. It was something crazy, and it's a 5,000 liter fuel tank, so it's not like it's anything crazy. It's just, I think, because of the convenience, that's what you've got. You know, I'll have enough. I'll be able to put the repair site in. Initially, I was thinking I would just go over, because I got the harvester up to like 14%, which is what it told me when I got in, so I might have been at 15 or 16 because I think I worked it a little bit longer. But then I was getting low on fuel, and I was like only halfway through this field, so I'm like, I'm obviously not going to finish, because I had done all of 35 and half of 36 on that tank, and I wasn't going to get through the last little bit with that. But if you recall, the best day to sell, or the best month to sell canola, is November. So I've got a little bit to wait, but once again, there shouldn't be any expenses, I don't think, because this isn't a production or anything. I don't know if there's any maintenance or anything on these. I don't remember. I don't think so. I think that's more on, I don't know what it's on. I guess we'll see what we see in the finances. You know, the $140,000 is what I got paid from Lamerick, so that got in there. You know, there's also $60,000 that got in there too, so it doesn't seem, I don't know if it was because I was in here or had logged in like right at the same time, but so that should really say 200,000 is what I really moved in here. I mean, the amount worked, because, you know, and I think what it might be is because I took out the 60 this morning and then I put it right back, because I took out the 60 hoping that I would win the Crampy. So maybe it zeroed itself out. So it is a net of 140,000, I guess. So I suppose that is accurate, where otherwise it would have been a zero because I moved 60 and then put 60 back. You know, we didn't take a look at this marvelous silo here, but so this is, you know, where you dump, or where you get loaded. So yeah, I mean, it isn't as high of an exit, or, you know, but it's nearly as high inside. But I'm also just going to like pull a trailer like this in there and fill it. I'm not dumping. Where the dump station here obviously has much higher clearance, because you can see the unloading things are these riveted steel panels. But like I said, when I was just working with it, I really thought it was a cool design and a cool look. So you've kind of got the risers, you know, so it like falls out of the silo and then it goes up there and then distributes out. So just a really cool thing. And if you get them with multiple tanks, it just they're behind, and you know, this green thing goes underneath. So it's a very efficient and compact design, but yet still looks a lot better than, I think, just a silo with a, I don't know, a spigot. I don't know what it's called. Words elude me. It is kind of late. It took longer, but I knew I needed to get this done today. But in any event, hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you're as happy as I am that I am pretty established now as an FM, and I, you know, kind of am good enough to be dangerous now. I've got what I need to operate. You know, I'm sure going to be struggling for money to get certain things or buy things or upgrade things, but that initial kind of panic state, you know, we've fumbled our way through. And I did that with some significant work on as a contractor, where I had, you know, a couple days that were long days, and luckily I had the work available. Like today there weren't any contracts, otherwise I would have done more, because I didn't know that I'd be able to get the money, and I knew I'd be without a silo, which is why I had gone ahead and kind of made peace with, all right, I'll use his silo again, because I'm not going to put in some tiny little silo, because I probably could have done a $20, $30, $40,000 silo, because obviously I had 90,000 left, you know, that would have held 250,000 liters, 500,000 liters, whatever. But that's not the one I wanted. I mean, I knew this one existed and I knew its price, and I was like, this is a great thing for my farm. It's really what I want to do. So I'm glad I was able to make it happen. And thanks again to Lamerick for taking time on his vacation to get things done. So I'll see you next time.